He's done it!
Throws up the floater.
Oh, it's astonishing.
Pulls off three-pointer.
We're coming to you live on this beautiful Monday evening. We are doing a stream on a different day. I'm Bailey Jackson, joined by my co-host, Lachelle Smith. What's new with you?
Nothing much. I mean, I'm deep in the Love Island lore right now. Listen, Love Island producers, if you're watching, if you know somebody who knows somebody, bring Jeremiah back. Like, just don't make me mad. Bring them back. You've allowed the Islanders too much autonomy. They're not smart enough right now. Bring Jeremiah back. So that's been like my weekend of being upset about what happened. Other than that, Game 7 was pretty good and everything else was chill. But yeah, I'm very deep in the Love Island binge and bag right now. What about you?
I had a pretty good weekend. I'm a little under the weather if you can't tell my voice by my voice, but I mean, aside from that, we've been good. It's Black Yacht Weekend here in Chicago, Juneteenth, of course, and then Summer Smash if you're familiar with the festival. So a lot happening in the city. A lot of people came in town, so it was cool to see some people and have a good time. But then, yeah, the weather decided to switch up on me and I got a cold. So here we are. But yeah, speaking of Game 7, like I said, unfortunately, I kind of slept through part of it. It was a little bit of a snooze fest in the second half. Pacers were up but going into halftime. So it was looking pretty decent going into that third quarter. Obviously, OKC broke away, had a good stretch where, Pacers weren't able to respond and but there was probably a good 20-point difference at one point. I don't know the exact number, but congratulations to OKC. This was a great series to watch. Highest viewed series since 2019. I know a lot of people were saying small markets couldn't do the job. Yep, and here we are. So it was fun to watch. Like I said, I mean, even speaking about it from a non-Pacers fan perspective, I think I would have been equally as tuned in as I was being a Pacers fan. Of course, being a Pacers fan, being from Indianapolis, like this meant way more. So yeah, just, really excited to be a part of this year specifically as well. Thank you to the NBA for allowing me to, be a part of Game 4. Huge shout out to them and just following along my team for this series. Hate to see how it ended, though. I mean, despite the Pacers' loss, Haliburton going out, that was a heartbreaker. I want to sit and talk about that for a little bit because that's been a huge topic of conversation, and not to steer away from OKC's win, because we'll definitely touch on that and the series that they played. But just want to walk through that. Lachelle, when you saw that, did you know, like off the bat, this is what it is? And how did you feel in that moment?
I'm not gonna lie, I started crying for him. Like tears literally, like small, not like a whole sob, but like my heart literally broke because like it looked exactly like the movement that he had in Game 5, where it's like he's kind of going and it's just a regular basketball move. There's no anomaly to this move that he's making. And it just didn't seem real. I'm not gonna lie. At first I was like, okay, maybe it's just like kind of tightening up on him. But the minute he goes down and he just starts hitting the court, he's like, no. And I'm like, oh no, he just popped it. Like it did not seem real. I felt so bad for Hali. Like on a human level, like sports aside, you saw how he knew. And I think that's what made it really tough is because he knew the risk. And I think he accepted it. He accepted, hey, this could happen. I'm going to hope it doesn't because Game 6 went well. They had such a big lead. He was able to rest. And I'm sure he probably, had a sigh of relief in Game 6. Like, okay, great. Like, I was able to kind of get out a little bit earlier. We were fine and I could rest. And then, like, he's going off 3 for 4 from 3. He's talking money to the crowd. He's feeling good. And it's like, it's just no way. Like, it feels cruel. It doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel right. I think in that moment, I don't know, like, I'm still not over it because it just didn't. I didn't even care about the first half after that. I was like, I need a moment. Like he just went out in agony. Like we talk about war movies and battles and all that. Like that is a hero. It's like Iron Man when he like in the last one where he's like taking off everything and he's like, yeah, kid to Spider-Man. And then all of a sudden he's like dying and we're like, no, like for the
Iron Man.
Yeah, like Iron Man for the greater good of everyone. And it's like, no, it just doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem right. My heart goes out to Hali, especially. I know he's going to come back stronger, but it took the air out of everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I saw that once the replay came back and it's just you could see that pop. I was like, Achilles tendon.
Ugh.
We've seen it so many times
Mhm.
now. It's like I'm a doctor. I can diagnose this. Like we didn't
Yeah.
even have to wait till Shams came out with a report today. Like we knew.
Yeah.
But it sucks. Yeah, it really sucks because it's like it's the biggest moment of your career. It's like Game 7 NBA Finals. How many times you're gonna get back to that? And
Mm.
then for that, like literally like first quarter for that to happen.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was first quarter, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
First quarter for that to happen. I mean, like gut wrenching. And then, like you said, just seeing his face, the pounding on the court, like heartbreaking, heartbreaking. I know his dad was, they showed him in the stands visibly upset. I saw clips of him leaving during halftime. It was just like,
Mhm.
we kind of all knew it was wraps for the Pacers at that point. I know you said something along the lines of like, you know, the risk, you continue to play through it. If you were Halliburton in that moment, knowing that, you can't predict the future. You don't know that's going to happen, right?
Mhm.
But knowing that you have been suffering through this injury and the pain, do you say no to the franchise and say, hey, I got to sit this out for my own good and
Mhm.
think about the future of this franchise, or do you continue playing? Because I know Kendrick Perkins got on First Take today, and he said something along the lines of, I told Hali to sit it out. Just like I told Katie to sit it out back in
Mhm.
2019. And look what happened.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just got to say no to the franchise. What would you have done if you were Callie, or what would you have recommended to Hallie in that moment?
I think it's hard because it's like if you've worked your whole life for this and it's not guaranteed you're going to get back to the NBA finals. It's never going to be guaranteed. I mean, you look at someone made a good example about the Phoenix Suns. Like we're talking about a few years ago, they were 2 games away from winning an NBA finals and they haven't been back since. Like, you can't, it's no guarantee. If I was Hallie, I think you understand the risk. I think I too probably would have just went out there and played and hope for the best. Cause it's like, especially when you start talking to your family. And I could imagine, I don't think his family was pressuring him or his dad or his girlfriend or his mom, but I'm sure that they heard his heart, which is if I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna go out swinging. Like I want to play. You hear LeBron James say, like, if I'm gonna be out there, I'll die out there. Like it is what it is. And we have to be careful with our words because realities can come true. But I don't think for Hali, if I was him, if the medical staff is saying, hey, you really should sit, then I would probably sit. If my coach came to me and said, I would understand if you sat. If my team came to me and said it, I think then I would say, okay, if there's no ill will, y'all understand the severity, I'm a sit. But I also think I would be like, okay, let me go out a hero's death. Like if I'm gonna go out, let me go out. And especially for him, you look at game 6 and he probably was like, okay, maybe everything's actually better than what I thought it was. I think Lisa Salters, she reported that he said he was kind of surprised at how good he felt in game 6 and after. Like he really was like, oh, maybe it's okay. But I think I would have played too because it's no guarantee he's gonna be riddled with regret forever if he wouldn't have played a game 7.
That's
You're going to
true.
sit there and say, what would have happened if I played? What would have happened? Because again, we don't know what's going to happen as he goes through his journey. We don't know if he's ever going to get back. And then he's going to grow old and say, wow, I had the opportunity to play a game 7 and I didn't do it. I can never say I did it. I can never say what could have happened, what would have happened, the opportunities. I think I still would have played. I think my family probably would have been like, go play. Like, we're going to hope and pray everything's fine, but you know the risk. He knew the risk. They sat him down and told him, I don't know if I blame the medical staff a little bit more. Like, do you save a player from themselves? We talk about that a lot, especially like in football with concussions. Do you tell a player, hey, I got to save you from yourself? You can't go back out there. You can't go do that. I think maybe that's a conversation, but I think for Hallie, if I was in his shoes, yeah, I think I'd go out and play and hope and pray that it's fine. But I think that's what you saw in that real time was him understanding the choice that he made. Cause like he's saying, he's like, no, no, no. And then I think they ask him, like, did you hear a pop? He's like, it did. So he knew immediately. And I think he knew he's heard it all. The medical staff had to tell him. But I do think it makes us look at like Luka not playing as long as he did at Dallas because like he had calf and hamstring and he was like, I don't want to rush it. It's like you kind of put it in perspective now that these players, they're making sense when they don't want to play with hamstrings or calves or whatever the case may be, because then things like this can happen.
Right. Absolutely. I think it's a reminder to fans to not give players as much crap about it. Because I mean, at the end of the day, their health is important. And if you want to see your favorite players play, you got to let them have the time to heal and relax and, rest up and get healthy. I know a lot of people are playing the blame game right now. Jay Will posed a great question on his Instagram earlier today, stating the facts this season. 8 players torn Achilles in one season. It's the fastest pace that we've seen since the 1970s, 109 possessions per game. We're in a league where it's highlight culture, it's tempo, it's space, it's pace. And then he said, are we optimizing the game or are we pushing these athletes past the point of sustainability? I want to get your thoughts on that and how do we fix it?
I mean, I don't think it's a one size fits all thing. I think he hit that on a few things. It is a lot that goes into play as to why we saw what we saw. I think even specifically more in the playoffs, because you saw Dame and then you saw JT and then now you see Hali. And these are 3 great players that were in deep playoff runs. So you're playing more than just 82 games now. You're in the 90s, you're in the 100 range of games in a sense. So I think there is truth to that. I think there is sustainability. I think the hard part is it's like everyone wants to say cut the season back. The problem is that's never going to happen. There's money involved. There's sponsors. I mean, we literally had to bully the NBA into putting the finals trophy back on the court, and it was a graphic. Like, because there's all these sponsors, there's a lot of money involved now. So cutting back a season isn't going to happen. I will say when I asked Kyrie Irving what was one thing he would change if he was commissioner at the All-Star weekend, he did say, if you don't cut back the season, All-Star break should be longer. I do think that's what is the problem. There has to be some time to heal and rest and recovery for a lot of these players, because after All-Star break, we all say it, that's when the season really starts. That's when everyone is kind of revving up their minutes. Everyone's ready to go out there and make a push. You got to make All-Star break a little bit longer now to give guys this time. I think that might be the best thing. It could be a league thing where you have to start stepping in when you hear about certain injuries that are related to Achilles tears or ACLs or MCLs. You know, like LeBron just posted today that he just is now getting over his MCL injury that he had. So I think the league has to do better protecting these players. You can't get greedy. You're not going to have a product to broadcast if all these star players are now getting hurt. It's bad for the league, but it's bad for them. They're putting their lives out there on the line, especially with the physicality. We talk so much about football, you know, like it's concussions, it's CT, it's all this. But look at the NBA, like he said, it's a high, fast-paced sport that is now getting faster and it's going quicker and it's longer. And now we're seeing what that looks like in the playoffs where guys are having Achilles injuries.
I see one comment in the chat says, what Jay Will spoke of begs the need for depth. The 2 teams in the finals were arguably the deepest teams in the league, with each team going 8-9 players deep, if not more. And that's a good point. You know, just being able to rotate. I mean, the conversation with the Knicks is like just the ability to rotate your bench a little bit more and not having players tired and not having, you know, your stars worn out. I mean, fortunately for the Pacers, they were in a position where Hali did get to sit a decent amount, and like you said, in you know, Game 6, he was able to come out. TJ McConnell came in, but yeah, it does argue, you know, that point for sure. But I think what Jay Will also said, you know, it's like you got to protect these players before the game breaks them. It's like if we don't, we're not evolving the sport, we're exhausting it, and that really hit home for me too. It's like we can't keep doing what we think is best for, you know, the franchise. Ultimately, the players got to come first, right? They're the reason the franchise succeeds. They're the reason the franchise grows, right? One thing I want to talk about too is the conversation of the low cut shoe, because I know that's been a topic that people have discussed, because it's been a commonality too. It's like we look at Dame, we look at JT, and now we look at Hali, and there's these low kind of mid cut shoes, and with them, there's typically no ankle support. Plus, it's locking your heel in so tightly with the padding around the base of the Achilles. So when you go to explode, there's no give. Like your heel can't lift off, and the Achilles takes on all of that tension. Over time, right? It overstretches and snaps, or you potentially, you know, make the wrong move. And that lockdown definitely helps with performance, but it definitely contributes to the ruptures. I think that's something that could also be addressed. Is like, you know, we're talking about giving players more time, but it's like maybe it's just better technology when it comes to what you're wearing too.
Right.
You know, maybe there just needs to be some revisions with that. Again, we could point the finger at a lot of different things, play the blame game all day. At the end of the day, it sucks to see Hali out. You know, ultimately, this is going to take out all of next season for him. You know, with the Achilles tear, it's a full year recovery. With that being said, I'm curious to know where do you think the Pacers will land next season? Do you think they're a deep run playoff team? Do you think they're a play-in team? And then realistically, do you think we could see the Pacers in the finals in the next 3-4 years?
I'm stuck on it, right? Because we've seen some magical playoff runs and those teams never get back to that again for a while. I don't want to say that's going to be the same thing for Indiana because I do believe that they have a good front office. I think they have Rick Carlisle, who's a great coach. I think they understand what they have and what they need. I think some moves are going to have to be made. I do believe that they have something there. I do believe also too with playoff runs, it attracts more players to want to come and play with that organization. And that's a good thing. I think a lot of guys around the league looked at Indiana and said, okay, this is actually kind of fun watching them. I like how they play. They play a lot of guys. They have the stars. Maybe this is somewhere I could see myself. So I think for Indiana, I'm not going to close the door on them because I think it would be so disrespectful to what they did, which again is still a product of what they did at the second half of the season. It's not like they just went in the playoffs and, oh, it was just like by coincidence. It's like they were playing great basketball in the second half of the season that carried over to the playoffs. I definitely think some moves are going to have to be made sooner rather than later, especially with some players that did not perform very well in this finals.
Miles Turner.
Yeah, and people can feel how they want to feel, but like that matters. Like if you're okay, Bailey, I'll ask you this because you're a Pacers fan.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the front office and they come to you right now, like everything's about to start, draft, because you know how they say like the front office, like there is no off season because now you go to draft, you go to get players. Say you're in the front office, you get to make the decision if Miles Turner stays a Pacer or not. Where are you landing in your decision and why? If you keep him or let him go?
Yeah, it's hard. He's been a Pacer for the last 10 years, and I'd love to see him be a Pacer for life. But when you look at this finals appearance, he pulled one of the biggest disappearing acts in the playoffs that we've seen in a long time. Yeah. The Pacers were winning, in spite of him pretty much the entire playoffs. But, paying him what I think he's expecting, I've seen numbers in that 30, 40 million ballpark. Like, is it a question of, do the Pacers give him the max and, keep him around? Because that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And I think he's worth it. I just don't know if he's worth it for the Pacers, to be honest with you. I think he could probably get paid somewhere else. I've seen, like, the Pistons be a potential option for him. I've seen, I think, like, the Nets be a potential option for him. But, if they do, is it a sign and trade situation? Like, I don't know. If it weren't for this playoff, I don't know. If he played better, I would have confidently said yes.
Yeah,
I think that's like a no-brainer. It definitely changes it.
It changes it by the product that you saw, like that.
Yeah,
like you can't ignore it. Like we can't sit there and be like, oh, it's fine. Like even if like Pacers would have won, I still think as a fan, would you have still been like, hey, like he really disappeared still? Like we got to talk about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely going to be a topic of conversation no matter what, because it's like we all saw it. It's not anything that goes unnoticed. It's like when we needed him, he wasn't there.
Right.
So, with that being said, it's like it does factor into the trade conversation and in that contract conversation. It's like, can we count on you in big moments? Because you just proved to us that we can't,
Right.
You proved to us for 7 games straight that we can't. And again, I know he was sick. I know he was dealing with some stuff, like, it factors into it, but it's like, at what point do you just kind of have to like say as a person, like, this means, I don't even know if it's like a matter of this means so much to me, I'm going to, push past it and give it my all. Like, I don't know what that conversation necessarily looks like from like a competitor standpoint, but I don't know. We needed to see him step up more. So that was disappointing. And as a result, I think what the people in the chat are saying, trade him, unfortunately.
Yeah. It might be time. I do want to ask you this, Bailey, because again, you're our Pacers insider. Like, you're the actual fan. Would you have felt a way if Tyrese Haliburton would have sat Game 7 because of the calf? Like, would you have been understanding of it, or would it have been, nah, he needs to just gut this out? Like, it's Game 7. Like, there's no Game 8.
That's a good question, because it's like, knowing what I know is going to happen in Game 7 and he would ultimately go tear his Achilles, like, of course, yeah, go ahead and sit it out. But not having that foresight. I don't know. I think it's like ties into that superstar conversation. It's like, are you really a superstar if you're going to sit out Game 7? That doesn't make any type of sense, right? A superstar is going to play through it. A superstar is going to push through injury. A superstar is going to be there in those big moments, even if he's in pain and he's struggling. So I think if he wants to live up to that hype and that conversation, then yes, we're going to sit here and shame Tyrese for not playing in Game 7. But if we weren't looking at Tyrese from that point of view with that lens on that we have been for the entire playoffs, then no, I probably wouldn't give him as much flack for it, because we've seen other people on the team sit out. Jarris Walker was out for the majority of or at least the back half of the finals with injury. I mean, granted, he's not their star player, but, again, like I said, Tyrese superstar conversation, I think it would be different given where Tyrese was placed on this team. But given that he is the face of the franchise, yeah, I mean, I think there's no doubt that it would be what are you doing? Why aren't you on the court? This doesn't make any sense. You're sitting out in the biggest moment of your career. But again, with that foresight of, ruptured Achilles, not going to be available for the next year, Pacers probably aren't going to make it back to the finals. I don't even think they're going to make it deep into the playoffs realistically with Tyrese out. I mean, at this point, yeah, if I had that 2020 vision, that hindsight, I would tell him to sit out and don't even worry about it, buddy. He'll be okay. Do it again next year.
Just let it go. Let it go.
Right.
Like, hey, you sit down.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Literally.
Just take it on the chin. Just take it on the chin.
Right. Turn off social media. Don't listen to what they had to say.
No, I'm not gonna lie, chat. This sounds bad, but I didn't laugh because he got hurt, because I literally was sad about that. But I low-key was ready for him to go ahead and book that surgery like Jason Tatum did. I don't think y'all understand how I have never seen someone have Achilles surgery as fast as Jason Tatum did. That man didn't even go back to Boston. He was on the operating table in less than 12 hours.
Yeah, literally.
Like, I ain't gonna lie. I was laughing to myself. I'm like, Tyrese, just go ahead and go get surgery. I was like, just go ahead. Right. I know the doctors are not there in Oklahoma. I need you to go ahead and get on the plane. You ain't even got to wait. Then somebody was like, well, what if they win in the confetti? I'm like, well, dang. I mean, sure, like, roll them out there in the wheelchair, but like, after I'm gonna go ahead and just go get this surgery quick. Like, I'm waking up tomorrow with the picture like this. Like, thanks for the prayers. I'm already on the road to recovery. Because, like, you look at Jason Tatum, I'm like, bro, you're like 2 months into recovery already. Like, and it just happened, but he didn't waste any time. Like, I'm hoping for a speedy recovery for Tyrese, but I was like, please just go ahead. I need the picture with you on the bed already, bro. Just thank you. I'm doing great. Like, let's just go ahead and rev this thing on up. Like, I don't want you out for too long.
No, absolutely. He needs Aaron Rodgers' doctor. He needs to fly out to New York, because talk about speedy recovery. Why were we seeing Aaron Rodgers back within months? Like, planting his foot, all about, we need whatever doctor Aaron Rodgers had.
Just go ahead. Like,
yeah, that's the type of speedy recovery we need. But yeah, it sucks. These Achilles tears are no joke, especially with these calf strains. We gotta watch out. I'm saying we as if I'm like on the team or a doctor, but
no, I was scared this morning. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, is my calf okay? Like, it would, like, I'm not Tyrese Haliburton. I'm like, man, am I good? Like, I ain't gonna lie. Scary. It's scary understanding. I'm like, ooh, let me sit down.
No. Oh, we're seeing in the chat, Hali did have his surgery today in New York City. Interesting.
He did?
Apparently. I didn't see that.
Okay, chat. Someone go look it up and tell us, did he go to the same doctor? Okay. Did he go to the same doctor that did Jason Tatum's? Because I did hear that the same doctor that did Kevin Durant's Achilles surgery did Jason Tatum's surgery.
Ooh.
And I wonder, did the same doctor do Hali's surgery?
Ooh. Let's see.
Somebody go look.
I'm doing some research on my end real quickly.
Yeah, someone told, I don't know how true that, but someone was like, Jason Tatum went to the same surgeon that KD did.
Yeah, surgery is scheduled later today with Dr. Martin O'Malley at the Hospital for Special Surgery in New York. Let's see, Dr. Martin O'Malley. Did he do any high-profile surgeries? Let's fact check it here. Okay, he did Jason Tatum's.
So that's the same one that did Kevin Durant's then.
It looks like it might be. Let me look. Yep. Yep. Wow. Okay. That's good news.
I'm not gonna lie, we might need to get him on the show at some point. Like, I want to ask him, what is it like to know you're like the resident Achilles whisperer for the NBA?
Right. Ooh. He needs to be the point person for all
That's
Achilles tears
crazy.
going forward. Wow. We just did some investigative research.
Because I kid you not, yesterday I was like, he just needs to go ahead and go like,
yeah.
I've never seen someone have surgery as quick as Jason Tatum. That was fast. It
that
definitely
was fast.
helped. He was already in New York, but it's like, it was too quick. I was like, oh, you're going to be good to go. Like, you might be back like by All-Star break by the speed of what you're doing right now. Wow. I wonder what that's like. Like, you're watching the game, eating dinner, and then boom, you're like, he just tore his Achilles. Let me go ahead and go to the
OR.
Yeah, like what is that? Like, how does that go? Is the NBA telling the Indiana Pacers like, hey, this is who you need to go to? Did Jason Tatum text you or KD text you and say, hey, go to my guy? Like, what's the conversation? Like, who did Dame go to? Like, did you not go to O'Malley as well? Like,
let's see. Now I'm curious. Let's see. Damian Lillard, Achilles surgery. Let's see where he got his done.
Who also did Kobe Bryant's?
Okay. Dame went to somebody in LA, Dr. Neil L. Atrachi.
Okay. Don't know who that is.
Consultation from team orthopedic surgeons. So we'll see how Dame. Let's do a compare and contrast. We'll see how Dame comes back versus how JT and Hali come back, and we'll see whose doctor does the real work.
I mean, O'Malley can be trusted because I don't think any of us thought KD was going to come back as quick as he did.
Absolutely not.
And when he came back, we were all like, "Oh, you must have." Because I think KD's he has a doc that I think his doctor did it a different way. Like he did the Achilles like repair. Like, I don't know. I think there's something about that where how he went about it was completely different than how they usually go about it.
We need to learn that. We need the doc on the show. W's in the chat for everybody coming together and helping us do this investigative journalism right here, real time.
That was fun
for y'all. No, that was fun. I thoroughly enjoy it. When it comes to answering questions, I'm a Google warrior, Chat GPT warrior. I love to find the answers.
I like it because we need to know. I have so many questions. Like, what is that like that you just did that many? Like, you just did two back to back Achilles in the playoffs. Like, can he speak to what's happening? What's the problem? Like,
that's a good point. Yeah, because what are you seeing? I don't know what the different types of Achilles tears look like, but are you seeing the same thing each time a player comes in? That is a good question. That is a really good question. It's like, what does that breakdown look like once you're in there, when you're seeing it? Can you from there diagnose what the issue is?
Yeah, what does it look like? My brother tore his Achilles, and I remember when he tore his, I think he told my mom he was playing basketball. He went home. He didn't think anything of it. He just thought like, oh, my ankle or something. Then he woke up the next day and like couldn't walk. So I asked him, I was like, right, that's crazy. My mom's like, what? Like, what do you mean you just tore your Achilles? I asked him yesterday, I'm like, is there pain? He said there's pain in like the initial pop. Like, you're like, oh crap, like it's done for. He said, but then it's like the realization more so that like you literally can't put any weight on this foot whatsoever. I'm like, but wouldn't it be like excruciating? He was like, in a sense, and no, because then I do think about like Dame. Like, Dame didn't really show any emotion when his popped. KD kind of just like stood there, and like held it in the finals that time. So I'm like, is it different for other people? And then like the rehab process that you like really can't walk. Ooh, bless you.
Sorry.
That was back to back, babe.
Take a shot for every time I sneeze. Because I promise you there's more coming. I've been holding them in.
I just like, no, literally, like, you got to let that out. Like we talked about earlier, you can't hold it in. Let it out.
No, for real. Yeah, y'all should be 2 shots deep right now. Oh gosh. But yeah, no, you make a good point. That's interesting because I would think it would be extremely painful, especially the way that we saw Haliburton on the floor yesterday. And it's like, you're talking about the realization of, oh, I can't put weight on it. It's like, I would expect that to be way more excruciating than how you're describing.
Right?
But maybe it's a matter of adrenaline. It's like you just all of that I don't know, built up energy in that moment, and you're just not really like mentally processing the pain. I don't know.
Right.
Somebody in the chat asked, Bailey, are you happy you pulled a Hali and played through? I don't know if that's in reference for the stream tonight, but yes, I am. I love to be here with you guys. I love being here with y'all. With that being said, we're gonna move into the next segment. We talked a little bit about KD earlier with his Achilles tear, but that's not really what I want to talk about. KD. I want to talk about KD because KD is going to the Rockets, just like I predicted.
You were right. You were right. You were right. W's in the chat for Bailey. Bailey said this last time we were on here, chat. She was adamant. She was like, he's going to the Rockets. This is what's going to happen. He's going to be in Houston. You were correct. KD needs to put you on his like agent team because like dang near you brokered the deal.
Rich Kleiman. Rich Kleiman, hit me up. Hit me up. We have an open line of communication already. Let's talk. Let's talk. Because I could be forget breaking news at Fanatics Fest. Because I don't know if y'all saw the clip of Taylor Rooks interviewing KD on stage, and it's like everybody in the crowd is like making all this noise. Houston, Houston, Houston. And then she said she looked over, she saw Rich on the side of the stage, and he just gave her that nod, and she knew. KD knew. KD did some interviews after the trade with Kay Adams, and he had an idea of where he was going, but, you never know, how a trade is ultimately going to play out. And he seems happy to be a Rocket. He also seems
very
to
happy
be out of Phoenix. I know Kay had pointed out, there's some sad, Suns fans in the crowd, and he's like, they're not sad, which I thought was interesting. I thought that was interesting. He said they're not sad. And it doesn't seem like he was sad about it either, unfortunately, for them. But yeah, KD to Houston. I was wrong about what I'm sorry. Yeah, KD to Houston. I was wrong about what Phoenix was gonna get. I know I said keep Jalen Green.
Ship him out.
And you said ship him out, and that's exactly what they did. Jalen's gone, Dillon Brooks is gone. They also got a first round draft pick.
The 10th pick? I think the 10th overall pick.
Yeah. And then there was some news about, I guess the Heat had tried to make multiple offers for KD, but ultimately turned down the opportunity. It was Jaime Jaquez Jr., Nikola Jovic, Haywood Highsmith, and the number 20 pick, which would have been, that's a nice little trade package, I'm not going to lie.
Pretty solid.
Yeah. But like I said, ultimately panned out the way that it did. Curious to know, I feel like we've talked about KD fitting into the Rockets enough, but we haven't discussed what Jalen and Dillon will look like fitting into the Suns roster. So I'm curious to hear your perspective. What are your predictions for Jalen Booker? I'm serious. Jalen Booker, Jalen Devin in the backcourt. Also just shooters, what do we think about that duo? Maybe potentially having a trio with Bradley Beal. Like what does that look like?
It sounds horrible. Sounds horrible.
That's not what I was expecting you to say.
It sounds bad. Like usually, Chad, I could be optimistic about a lot of things. Like I could sit there and say, okay, maybe it could work out. But I think it's not going to work out because the Phoenix front office is horrible. I think there's a reason why KD is acting how he's acting. And he was like, they wanted me to go. I wanted to go. It is what it is. I'm gone. I think for one, if you're the Phoenix Suns, there's just no way you actually believe like Jalen Green's going to be the future of your franchise alongside Devin Booker. I think I've seen some reports where they say they might end up shipping him off somewhere else in another trade. So it's like, don't unpack your bags just yet, JG. I'm sad for Booker. I actually want Booker to request a trade. Go ahead and try to get to Detroit. Like at this point, Phoenix is not the spot for you. I understand the contract and all the things. It's just not working. It's not working. And I think it is time for him to get a little bit selfish and request his own trade and go ahead. Because somebody out there will take on his contract. They will. And if I'm him, I'm looking at these young teams like KD just did. Because like he told Kay Adams, I think she asked him, like, why Houston? And he was like, the run that they just had, they're exciting, they're young. Okay, yeah, Booker, go do the same thing. Detroit's a young team. They got a lot of pieces that they could trade. You go right over there. Bradley Beal, I mean, Phoenix doesn't even want Bradley Beal. Like, they're begging him to waive the trade clause that he keeps saying, no, I am not doing it. So now they're about to either have to buy him out or like just deal with what it is. So it's like you have a backcourt that doesn't even really want to be your backcourt. And it's just no way we're going to sit here and be like, yeah, Jalen Green's the answer. No, not at all. No offense to Jalen Green, but it's just not for where they are. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, I would expect him to get traded again. If he ends up starting the season as a Phoenix Sun, I actually would be kind of surprised.
I've seen a lot of reports saying that he might. I really do. Like, I could see that. I mean, front office makes some questionable decisions. Coaching staff makes some questionable decisions as well. I wouldn't be horribly mad at that. I see the one person in the chat saying both teams got better. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. I also see some the chat talking about Booker does need to leave. So that seems like a very agreed upon hot take. Detroit would be a good landing spot for him. And I know that's a high favorite for Booker going forward. I know somebody's also saying if Booker were to leave, he should go to the Eastern Conference path of least resistance to the finals, which makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I
see that. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know how Phoenix, maybe I'm tripping, chat, and Bailey, you could tell me, like, do you think Phoenix got better? Because I think Houston won the trade. I think they won because they didn't have to give up any of their young core. Like, you didn't have to give up Jabari Smith Jr. You didn't have to give up Eason or Whitmore or Reed, whatever. You really just had to give up Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, a 10th overall pick. I mean, they gave up 5 second-rounders, which kind of was a little hefty, but, like, ultimately what they had, like, you didn't have to put Şengün in there. Like, you kept your core. And then you hear Brian Windhorst say, like, KD tried to get the, like, number so low that, like, Houston wouldn't deny it. So he wasn't trying to make it complicated where they had to give up a lot. Because, like, if you're Houston, like, I don't have to give up all my young pieces. You get Jalen Green, who we could justify because he didn't play well in that Warrior series. It's Dillon Brooks. Okay, like, that's it. Like, that's it. And a 10th overall pick. Like, we haven't even met the person probably yet. So it's like, what are we really missing out on where the Heat, like Pat Riley's like, man, y'all are asking for a lot. Like, I'm not giving you Jaime Jaquez and my young, no, like, I'm going to keep, I guess you could tell me if I'm wrong. How did Phoenix get better?
I don't think they did. No, I mean, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not saying that they got drastically better. I'm not saying that they got drastically worse either. I feel like they're just kind of like right there where they were before.
Bingo.
Houston definitely won the trade. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, like I said, I was a huge proponent of KD going to Houston for a variety of reasons. I think it makes sense for them going forward in the future of, you know, their franchise being Western Conference contenders. KD, I talk about, you know, KD leaving that legacy. You know, I think that can definitely be done there in Houston. I think a chip is in their future, probably in the next 3 to 4 years for sure. That was a great trade. And like you said, the number was low and they didn't have to give up much. That team is going to be scary next year. Houston is a team we need to be watching out for as a result of this trade. I do see some people in the draft also saying 10th pick in the draft isn't much. Weak draft if you're not picking in the top 5 or 6. I agree with that. Speaking of draft, we do have it coming up in the next few days. You have any predictions of, you know, where people might land? Let's say top 5, and I can pull up draft order if we need.
Okay, pull up draft order. We know Coop is going 1 to Dallas.
For sure.
I'm almost certain San Antonio is going to keep that 2nd pick and take Dillon.
Okay.
That 3rd is the 76ers. I'm actually hoping the 76ers do something really funny and still take Ace Bailey, even though it's very clear that his team kind of doesn't want him to go there, which, again, I don't understand that. Dang, I take that back. I actually, if I'm the 76ers, I would take VJ Edgecombe.
Okay.
And then at 4, I'd probably go Ace Bailey. And then who's 5? Wizards?
Jazz.
Ooh, that 5 is a tough one for me. It's a few, because I don't know who the Jazz need so much that I don't even know. If I was the Jazz, I actually might trade that pick and try to get something. Yeah, there's a few. If I'm the Jazz, I might trade that pick. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't like who are y'all gonna get that's gonna help y'all.
You want to hear my picks?
Please.
Okay,
I want to hear it.
So I got Cooper, you know, going number 1, Dallas, right? Dylan Harper going number 2 to San Antonio. I got Trey Johnson going number 3. The 76ers.
Ooh, I like that.
VJ Edgecombe going number 4 to the Hornets, and Knuppel going number 5 to the Jazz. That's my pick.
Okay. I like Khan. I like Khan, and I'm a big Trey Johnson fan. I think he's probably one of the best shooters in the entire draft, which is a huge steal. I like that. So that's a good one. I like that. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. And did you have Ace in the top 5? Ace wasn't in that top 5.
I have him going probably 6 to the Wizards.
I would be okay if he drops a little. I don't agree with what his team is doing. I don't. In chat, if you don't know, like, it's like a whole thing. He hasn't worked out for any team. He's the only US based prospect that has not worked out for any team during the draft process. The draft is Wednesday. So he's not working out for anyone. He was supposed to work out for the 76ers last week, but his team wanted a guaranteed promise that they were going to take him at 3. And because the 76ers didn't give him that, he canceled his workout 24 hours before he was supposed to be there. His team wants a guaranteed path to stardom. Those are their words. Like, maximize minutes and enough, basically in the best way. They want him to go somewhere he could start immediately and jack up 30 plus shots and do whatever he wants in this rookie year and hope that it actually equals out to him being an all-star and a superstar. Because of that, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's asking a lot. It's asking a lot. And I don't think he's that good of a player to deserve all of that, especially this early on. That's a lot.
No.
Yeah. We got one person in the chat saying Derek Queen better go top 10 # Baltimore.
Hey, he's a sleeper. He's a sleeper. I feel like the right organization gets him and develops him is going to be fun to watch. There's some guys you could tell, like, okay, about 3 to 5 years, you're going to be in a good window. Some guys you look at, you're like, man, you're going to be immediately probably really good. Like Dylan Harper, Coop. I look at them as like guys, like I'm like, the system that you're going to go to is actually going to be pretty beneficial where like you could have a lot of capabilities very early on. But when I'm looking at like a Derek Quinn, I'm like, if I'm the right organization, you kind of got to say, okay, like if in 2 to 5, he's going to look super solid, like he's worth taking this because like he has so much skill. He has the size. I mean, yeah, I like Derek Queen. Big fan of his game.
Predictions on where he's going to land?
None, because I think after we get out of 5, things might get really wonky.
That's
depending
fair.
on who's 3. 3 is going to tell me how wonky the draft can go. Depending on 3, because I think out of the 3, I could see Trey, I could see VJ, and I could see Ace. If somehow that mixes up and it's a completely different thing, then I'll be like, oh, I don't know where anybody's going actually after 3. Like that might just be a mess.
It gets weird. There are some draft boards saying that Derek is supposed to be the 15th pick. Obviously, that is, way down the line. We'll see if he makes it to that point or if, like you said, some trades happen. But 15th pick is OKC Thunder. Could be it.
Dang. Ain't no way OKC gonna keep getting away with this. Somebody get Sam Presti, because no way.
They got the pick from the Heat. So yeah, they sit in with a nice little early-ish draft pick. Sam Presti's on one. Sam Presti's might be the front office GOAT. He might be the front office GOAT.
I just wonder, what does his morning look like? Like, are you getting calls from people? Do people not pick up your calls when you call other GMs to make trades? Like, are people now scared to trade with you or like, what is that? Are you the GM everyone likes, or like, are you on this island by yourself because everyone's like, I don't want to give him something that he could just turn to gold again? Sam Presti, if you're out there, I'm wondering. I would like to know.
Sam, if you're listening,
like, what does your circle look like? Do you have friends? Like, who are your peers? Like, I don't know.
No, that's a good question. That's a real good question because he been cooking lately. He been cooking ever since that Supersonics move. He's been cooking. Dang. Sam Presti over Rob Pelinka. I think a lot of us can agree with that. Yeah. We can. I'm not debating that one. Nope, not in the slightest. On that note, Lachelle, it's time for my favorite segment. Why don't you cue us up?
Yes, chat. It is Monday, so you know what time it is, even though it's a different day than what we usually get on. But it's all the same. It is time to call the hotline, okay? We need your hot take, your opinion. You can have a question. You can even debate us on something we said earlier, maybe something we didn't talk about that you would like to talk about. We got the number in the chat. We also got it on the screen for the audio listeners, 312-626-6799. After that, you're going to enter a code, also on the screen, also in the chat, 885-4089-5929, followed by that pound sign. It's a little kind of, you got to go through a few things, but it's worth it, I promise you.
Jump through a few hoops, and don't be scared if you do land in a Zoom call, because that is exactly what it is. We are zooming y'all in.
Also, if y'all call and you have a Love Island opinion, Bailey, do you watch Love Island?
I can't say I do. So, okay, this is my backstory with Love Island. And just really any of those like reality dating shows, I've never been able to really get into them. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't comment on that. But we do have our first caller, 317 number from Indianapolis. I actually recognize this number. Let's see. First caller, who do we have on the line?
Good evening, ladies. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Great show. Wanted to applaud you both for another great episode. Wanted to get your thoughts on two things. In lieu of Haliburton's injury last night, who do you think would be the starting lineup for the Pacers next year? And then secondly, would love to hear your thoughts on where Giannis may land. You got Houston correct, so play the role of prognosticator, and where do you think Giannis may land?
Ooh, I'm thinking.
Okay, I can start off with that Pacers answer. So I think we're gonna see Nesmith, maybe Mathurin, McConnell, Pascal, probably Obi. I think that makes sense.
That's us already. That's without Miles.
Play that back again.
That's without Miles. Miles.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to include
Hypothetically.
Miles. Yeah, we'll just say hypothetically Miles is not on the team next year. I don't want to, because there's conversations about him potentially being traded, I don't want to include him in that starting five right now. So we got Nesmith, Mathurin, McConnell, Pascal, and Obi.
That's solid. I like that.
What about Nembhard? What about Nembhard?
Okay, we could sub Mathurin and Nembhard out, or sub
TJ. I'd probably take TJ out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go with TJ coming off the bench. Nembhard is a starter. He's definitely a starter next year.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about him. That's fair. Lachelle, you agree with that?
Yeah, Nembhard, Mathurin, Siakam, Nesmith, Toppin. That makes sense to me. If I'm not thinking about Miles Turner, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
If you are thinking about Turner, where are you putting him?
Oh, I'd probably keep him in the starting lineup then. I'd probably keep him then, and then Obi coming off the bench still. So yeah. I guess the biggest change would be like Mathurin coming.
Yeah, take Obi out. That makes sense.
Now I'm thinking about Giannis. I'm gonna just be honest. I actually have a hot take. I feel like Giannis is doing all this, and he's actually not gonna leave. I just think, I don't know why I'm feeling that. And some people have said that, like, I think Brian Windhorst actually talked about it this morning, where he was like, either he's going to do this in the dead of night and none of us are going to know, and his team have actually been already facilitating trades. Very hard for me to believe that this will go under the radar that long without us not hearing an inkling, while he's on live with his wife having a good time talking about a Lamar edit. I'm like, you're not leaving Milwaukee. Like, I think you're just doing this, but it's kind of back to what Jeff Teague said. He was like, if you want to land Giannis, just get his brother. He was like, if you get Thanasis, you'll get Giannis. And I think Milwaukee understands that. I don't think he wants to leave. I feel like he's just doing all this. I hope I'm wrong, but
yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Giannis is leaving either. I mean, it doesn't seem like, I don't know, as much as he says, my time in Milwaukee might be up, and, just the various things that have happened within the team, he still has a lot of control over that team for starters.
Mhm.
So it's like he has to give that up to go somewhere else where he potentially may not have that level of control. And on top of that, I think he just genuinely loves being there. That team is built around him. So, it's like you're giving up a lot in order to go to another team. And it's like, maybe that increases your chances of winning, a finals or going back to the finals. And I think with that being said, if I had to place him on any team, I would put him on the Knicks. But excuse me. But I really don't think he's going to leave either.
The Knicks. Ooh. I would definitely ship Cat out so fast. No offense. No offense.
Cat's gone.
He's gone. I wouldn't even think twice about it.
Cat's
I literally
gone. Yep.
I wouldn't even blink. I'd be like, oh, that's it? For you want him? Who else you want?
You're right.
Okay.
Start
say
offering
less.
people up.
Yeah. Say less.
Yeah. Cat's gone. What are your thoughts, though?
My thoughts, personally, about Giannis.
Yep.
I think he's going to stay. I think he's going to stay in Milwaukee for many of the reasons you mentioned. Plus, he just seems like a loyal dude. I don't know if it's his European background, but I think he's content in Milwaukee. I think there's a sense of loyalty that he has that maybe American players might not have.
I think that's
my 2 cents.
That's actually a really good point, because now that I'm thinking about most European players, like top players, they really don't like to request trades. Like there is this deep sense of like gratitude and loyalty, or like, it has to get to a level where they actually want to really be traded. Like you think about Dirk, you think about even Luka, like he said, he wanted to end in Dallas. He never was thinking about not signing the Supermax and all of that. And then you look at Giannis, he gives me that. I'm with you. I don't think Giannis really wants to leave. I think he has a deep sense of appreciation for Milwaukee. I think, when people start like statistically talking about like what he's been able to do for Milwaukee, especially after they won and like how things just really revved up there. I think especially because he has so many kids now too, I would assume he's not really trying to, take his wife and his kids away from where they're building a home.
That's a good point.
So I think because he's popping out kids. Like he's a family man. Like, like I could see that being a lot. And they're young kids too, where it's like, man, like that's a lot. I do think there is a deep, deep sense of loyalty European players do have that American players don't have. And I definitely think Giannis is one of those guys.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good point. I mean, you talk about the other aspects that go into the job, right? Just for anybody, if you have a family, you have kids that, like you said, are young. It's a lot to uproot that. But yeah, I mean, I think we all agree Giannis will likely stay in Milwaukee. Only time will tell. So we'll see if our predictions are right. Like I said, we got Houston right. We got Houston. KD did the Rockets correct. So let's see if we get Giannis staying in Milwaukee correct. Thank you to our first caller. We got another one coming in. Let's see, caller number 2, 4110 area code. Who do we have here? Second caller of the night.
Hey, it's AJ. How y'all doing? I just want to say I love your show.
Thank
I had
you.
a question about the WNBA. With it expanding to 15 teams, what other cities would you guys like to see the WNBA in? Because obviously the NBA generates more money, but a lot of that has to do with the amount of cities that it is in, and with double the amount of teams, even when it gets to 15, there's a lot of room and opportunity to grow. As someone from Baltimore, I would like to say, let's go Baltimore. I would love to have some sort of team there. We don't have an NBA team, and I know that we would support a WNBA team. I'd be about it. So what do y'all think?
Ooh, Houston. The Houston Comets got to come back.
Yeah,
they just got to come back. Like, I desperately need them to bring the Houston Comets back. Like, I need Beyonce to go ahead and put some money, become an owner, come a stakeholder, bring it back. I don't know why I'm not gonna lie. Some of the teams that they are expanding to, I was surprised about Toronto. I was like, But I think there was like an article about how like Toronto basketball, like obviously the Raptors, it's such a big deal. But I would love to see Houston. I really, really believe that a W team in a major city, especially like Houston, that already has kind of that background, would be really fun.
Okay,
How would you feel about like something in the Midwest?
Ooh, I wouldn't be against it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be against it. More
I was gonna
more
say-
teams, the better.
Yeah, well, like if you had to choose a second team, where are you placing it?
Ah, ooh. I'm not gonna lie. I am one of those people that likes to align it with NBA teams. Not saying that like the women's league needs that, but I do think from a fan perspective, like to your point, it's like, okay, Baltimore love like Baltimore. I'm sure you're a Ravens fan, like diehards,
No
and
doubt.
it's like certain places they gravitate to all sports teams. Where it's like, I would love if there was an NBA team and a W team in conjunction. Like, I think I would be against if there was a W team. Like, what's a team I can like? Because I'm thinking about like Indiana Pacers, Indiana Fever, like that already has its connection. Could there be one that's like Oklahoma City?
Yeah.
Like,
Or like,
like, is that possible? I don't know. I think it's fun when there's like I guess, two teams that are synonymous with each other. I think that's really fun. So I wouldn't be against Midwest. I don't know. Oh, Tennessee. That's not like really Midwest, but I think they actually put in a bid for like what it was like Tennessee something like in like conjunction with like Pat Summit. I think because Candace Parker was part of like that ownership. I would love to see that. That would be really fun.
it's just like they're trying to grow the game, right? So why not move to more cities and give them some potential to get more fans?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know somebody in the chat said Baltimore's too close to DC, which I do kind of agree with that. And DC does have the Mystics. So I don't know if we'll see it going to Baltimore anytime soon, because that would be a lot in terms of competing markets. But I hope for your sake.
Bailey, we love our basketball.
I know.
I
I hope for your sake it works out. You didn't let me finish.
All right. Well, I'll call back when we do get the team. How about that?
All right. No, that sounds good. That sounds good. And to answer your question,
you guys. Keep doing your thing. You got a fan here.
No, I appreciate it. But no, to answer his question, I was gonna say I like Miami. I think there's no team in right now, so it's like, if you're gonna place a team, especially with like linked up with another NBA franchise, don't put it in. Respectfully, please don't do that. So Miami would be my choice, and I know like Cleveland's been in topic of conversation for a while. They previously had a WNBA team, so I'd probably link one up with the Cavs. I really see that actually coming soon, because the teams are kind of off balance right now with how they've been adding them, correct? Like we're sitting at an odd number, so I think we do need to add another one.
Because we got Toronto got added, Portland got added.
Portland, yeah.
And then Valkyrie, yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking at definitely another one coming here soon. Place your bets or where you think it could be. We're seeing Detroit, and we're seeing another Cleveland.
Detroit would be a good one.
Detroit makes sense. Makes sense.
I like that. Actually, is a good one.
Yeah.
I wish we had a ton of money and we could just go be part owners of the team.
Yeah. One day when the show just is like taking off and we're on Netflix doing this and we have millions and millions of dollars, we're gonna start a WNBA team. Maybe we start one in Louisiana.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah. See, Bailey, I knew you were all right. I don't care what they say about you. It's not true. You know how people say that? That is the funniest thing when people say, I'm like, what were they saying? I don't care what they say. You're all right with me.
I'm dead. The moment I said your home state, you said we good.
There we go. Yeah.
Somebody said the crawfish. That's what I was thinking the name could be too.
That would be so funny. That would be so funny. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That would be. I see Miami though. Miami would be fun though. Miami, Detroit. I can see Cleveland. Yeah. Those are some good spots.
Yeah, no, those are good cities for sure. I'm trying to think. Seattle. Well, what am I talking about? Storm. Yeah, I'm thinking about teams where we don't have NBA teams. Nashville.
That would be a good one.
Yeah.
Who else doesn't have one? Trying to think of like all the top teams that just went through like the playoffs for the men of places that we're used to.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the different states.
Right. I'm trying to think of the cities too. Once you start going through the map in your head, you're like, did I pay attention in like US history?
Right. Let me pull up a map. United States. because we could sit here and think about this all day. I'm such a visual person. I need to see. Utah doesn't have one. But I mean, you're so close to the Aces and the Mercury at that point.
Is there a list of cities that are in like the bidding phase? Like, do they did Kathy say like there were other cities that were bidding?
Definitely were. Let's see. And
like you said, we got Portland, Golden State, and then Toronto.
Okay, let's see. What cities have put in bids? Looks like we're looking at Detroit, so Nashville, Philly.
Okay.
We didn't talk about Philly.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Houston, which you brought up, Cleveland,
Okay.
Milwaukee.
Oh.
I like this next one. Kansas City.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Well, especially because Patrick Mahomes has expressed interest in an expansion team to KC, and he's already an investor in like the National Women's Soccer League, I believe, or just women's sports in general. I know he's been very supportive and put some money into at least a team or two. So I think that could make a lot of sense. Not saying that Mahomes has to be the person to do that, but I could see that for sure. St. Louis.
I feel like that's a good one too.
It looks like Jason Tatum was reportedly part of an ownership group that was trying to lure a team there. And then Austin, Texas was considering a bid for a franchise last year, a group backed by KD. It's interesting. There's a theme of athletes investing.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. That's great. And it looks like we got some NBA players and NFL players in the mix too.
I mean, it's a great opportunity. I mean,
absolutely.
I think Serena has ownership in Toronto, or was it Golden State? One of the two. I think it's Toronto.
One of the two.
So it's like, it's such a good opportunity, especially how the W is going to be and how it's going to keep expanding. Because aren't they supposed to add like 2 more teams by 2026? Or am I making this up?
Let me see, because I don't know off the top of my head. There was a commitment.
Because Kathy said 5, I thought she was like, we're going to add 5 by like a certain time. I could also be lying on Kathy. My bad, girl.
It's scheduled to expand to 15 in 2026. Okay. So we're currently at 13.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So we
got
2 more.
Does that count? Does Toronto count in that?
I think so.
In the 13 that we have?
Oh.
I don't think so, right?
No.
Toronto or Portland don't count in that. So I think that is the 15.
Oh, so we're done. Oh, man.
Yeah, I think unfortunately that's it. Which it still doesn't make sense because that's an odd number. I don't know. Someone said, don't grow too fast. I should be careful. That's a good point. I mean, we are like, while we are seeing really positive uptake in women's sports, you don't want to be too quick, too giddy to, expand. So it does have to be strategic. So maybe a cap at 15 in 2026 is the right move. It is the right move. So
I want the W to have a G League. That's what I want.
That they not only is that a want, but it's really a need. Yeah.
They need a G League
because the amount of rookies that get cut every single year is insane.
And I don't know why they don't have one. Like, I get people are going to say money, this, that, and the third, but I'm like, what does it have to do with a G League, though?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a topic of discussion for, honestly, maybe that's a whole segment for another episode because I really could get into that because, call it the B League.
Yeah.
Why would it be the B League?
I was about to say, I don't like, why that letter?
Yeah, I don't get that.
What are you trying to get at? I don't like it.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
I don't know if your joke landed or I feel offended.
What is a B League? Am I missing something?
Choose your next answer wisely.
If the WNBA stars are... Oh, we got L's in the chat. Okay, we might have to move. Those that get chosen are the B's. I don't know if I'm getting it still. It could be the W League. I don't know. Does that make sense? That's I feel like too similar.
Because I'm going to be honest. What does the G League stand for? What does the G stand for in the league?
You're asking good questions. Because it used to be D League and developmental.
It used to be, yeah, okay. I know I went crazy. I'm like, what does the G stand for? Because I remember the developmental league, but is it Gatorade? No, it's not. Stop, chat. Just disregard that. I said that.
It is actually.
It's the Gatorade League.
Gatorade paid the D League to rename itself the NBA Gatorade League, which was officially shortened to the G League. Whoa, I didn't know that.
Chat, that just goes to show I do be reading stuff and retaining it, but sometimes whatever I pull out of my mind at that time, I don't know if it's the right bucket. Okay. All right. I was about to say, is it? Wow. Maybe. I don't know. I'm actually at a loss for words because I don't know what we would name the Women's G League. Maybe you just keep G League. Just keep it universal. Like, we're used to it.
S for supplemental, the S League. I don't know. We could go on and on. We could go through every single letter of the alphabet and probably find a way. Probably find a way to make it make sense. But watch it be based off a sponsor like the G League is. That's interesting. The more you know. I had absolutely
the Sephora League. The S League makes sense. The Sephora League. Come on now. I just watched Running Point chat on Netflix. Mm-hmm. So one of the sponsors was Sephora for the Los Angeles, I think Waves were the name. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you want a show, go watch that.
The Kia League for the car sponsors. K League. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. On that note, chat is getting to that time of the night. We out here just naming letters at this point. We might as well. We might as well call it a day. It's another W stream. Thank you for everybody to join us this week. We have a really exciting stream for next week, y'all. I want y'all to listen very closely when I say we have a special guest for next week, and you guys are going to love him. Should we tease? Should we let people know who it is?
I don't know, Bailey. I don't know. Should they already know?
I don't know. Can we get some W's in the chat? Maybe a sub, a follow?
Should we do like a poll later for questions that they might want to ask this special guest?
I think we should. We definitely should.
Should we do like a clue thing where we give them 3 clues and someone figures it out? We should make it harder on y'all. It shouldn't be so easy.
It really shouldn't. But to answer some of the questions in the chat, we are back on Sundays. This is just a change of schedule for the NBA Finals. We are back Sunday, same time, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Questions would align with the guests if we knew. Okay, I think we should tell chat. We've got NBA star Grant Williams joining us on the stream next weekend from the Charlotte Hornets, previously the Dallas Mavericks, and originally the Boston Celtics. So if you would like to prepare your questions for Grant, we are talking everything. There's no questions that are off the table. We want this to be a very interactive stream. Grant is very excited to join us. We are very excited to have Grant. So W's in the chat for Grant, W's in the chat for our stream today. We look forward to seeing y'all same time, same place next week. We out.